world immersed in emails and tweets and Facebook and all sorts of social media is becoming a real lost art, and I hope today we can get back to that. During this process, using a positive, best-intentioned attitude, we can focus on the facts, dig into why Coquitlam Council took this unanimous position, and further explain to our peers, and more importantly to our citizens, why. Why are we bothering? Why do we feel this is so important that we speak out loudly and publicly about the proposed RGS? I have lots to say about all of the issues, but I shall start simply by addressing the two that are most glaring to me. The RGS means to me that we are discussing a whole new set of rules that must survive the test of time for 30 years, but also be flexible, and this is a big issue for me. A planning document is just that, it's a plan. It must be fluid and adaptable to our changing needs. Just look at where we were 30 years ago. The regional growth strategy is complex and has profound impact on how this region will look 30 years from today. Quite honestly, for all of us who are long-term residents, did you see this area in its current configuration 30 years ago? I know we all knew that growth was on the horizon, but is this really where we thought we would be? Did the changes we anticipate include the technology, the need for placement of the ever-growing cell towers, the environment issues, the climate change, the impact of oil and gas prices on our service delivery? All of this affects our land use and growth decisions, and, most importantly, the economic viability of our region. Who really thought that tweeting was for anybody but the birds? All of Coquitlam's fundamental concerns are embodied in the 6 key elements we have tabled today. But as we know, sometimes written documents do not enjoy the full, detailed, and thought-provoking review that a simple conversation with simple answers to simple questions can bring about. I would like reasoned discussion that should be embodied in the original tenets of this process that allows individual municipalities to have a voice. And I want those answers in the full transparency of a totally public process. Closed-door resolutions don't help the credibility of the document, or us for that matter. And this document will carry us forward for the next 30 years. Much like my comments here today, my questions are clear, straightforward, and no hidden agendas. My first issue. I believe this agreement makes profound and irrevocable shifts in political power. Many of the core decisions once made by local councils shift to an unelected body with grand authority that our citizens have no method of reaching with simplicity. Fundamental local responsibility on some major decisions simply disappear. In my opinion, this is wrong, and as the years go by, more and more land use decisions will fall in Metro's hands and away from the elected representatives in each city. And with the weighted vote structure, as it stands now in the RGS, some smaller cities may even lose the ability of development and growth of their own areas. The strength in our growth to date has been the level of local autonomy that allows municipalities to handle local issues based on the concerns and uniqueness of each community, and most importantly, based on the democratic election of each council by their constituents for their local knowledge on issues pertinent to them. Geography, history, and a long list of local concerns shape our communities. That knowledge, decision-making should rest with the local councils who know their cities best and who were elected to look after them. The second major point comes down to the credibility and consistency of the overall document. During the development of the RGS, we saw a multitude of edits to this document. Community after community has lined up to request local change after change, and understandably so, in view of the fact that there is no clear definition of what is regionally significant. However, how does that give this process the credibility and consistency when core values are on a shifting deck? We were not consistent going into this process, and with all the changes we have even become less so. A clear definition of regional significance is absolutely and very obviously missing. In that same context, during the next 30 years, I need to see a clear and concise description and process to manage change, where the municipalities, not just Metro, have the trigger in hand to prompt a review. In essence, to simply be able to monitor the effectiveness of this document for all parties and to tweak it if necessary. In one of the most far-reaching and profound documents that will control our regional destiny for the next 30 years, I want to see greater latitude and renewed strength in the ability for municipalities to work with each other and Metro inside a strong, credible, and most importantly, fair framework. This growth strategy should be a vibrant, living, moving document with both sides behaving like partners, not only one with all the control. In closing, I would like to say that as it is configured today, the regional growth strategy is complicated, convoluted, and confusing. It adds an unnecessary level of bureaucracy and makes our region less competitive, which in turn affects jobs and our economy overall. But, my friends, transportation, our open, transparent conversation should help all of us sort this out. And in the end, let us hope that just good, plain, common sense can prevail. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if you have a nesting of